Aloha, I'm Cullen Hayashida with the KCC Kupuna Connections television series. We are here on a weekly basis to provide practical information to the community with regards to elder care. Today we're going to be talking to two experts from our community about how to pay for private duty home care services. This is a concern that continues to grow as we have more older adults in the community. So today we have both Patty Griffin and Valerie Taylor. Thank you very much for joining me today. And let's start off first of all with Patty, if you could introduce yourself and tell a little bit about who you are.
Okay. My name is Patty Griffiths. I am a care manager at Options for Elders. Options for Elders is a geriatric care management agency, and providing care management is really kind of a broad section there, and we can do as much as or as little as our clients need us to do. Oftentimes we're providing help in the home with caregivers and just basically overseeing the all-around care of our clients. Most times maybe they don't have family around to provide that service, so that's where we come in.
Okay. And Valerie, if you could share a little bit about who you are.
Yes, I work for Child and Family Service. I'm the director of the gerontology program there. And the gerontology program has been around for 30 years. We provide basically three types of service. So we have our wellness programs, which include exercise and chronic disease self-management. We have our case management services, which include all seniors and also those at risk for abuse and neglect. And then we have our family caregiver programs. So that includes our Ohana Care with support groups, caregiver training. We also do case management in that program and a caregiver respite program, helping people to develop respite plans for themselves.
Okay. Well, we all know that Child and Family Services has been in Hawaii for many, many years.
Over 100.
And has done a lot of good things. And of course, the gerontology program is also well known.
Yes.
Ever since the days when Mildred Ramsey was there.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, back to our topic. We wanted to discuss this question with regards to how do we select a paid caregiver. We've got family members in our community that oftentimes need to hire additional help because mom and dad, the care for mom and dad is a little bit tougher than before. And now we've got new agencies and new programs that are providing this care. This is all new stuff. Why is all of this happening today anyway?
Well, Hawaii has one of the largest elderly populations, 60 and over, and actually has one of the largest 80-plus populations. Part of that is just due to the fact that we live in a wonderful place and have really healthy lifestyles. The other thing is that caregivers are really caregivers are changing in that in the past they often didn't have jobs. Now we call it not only the sandwich generation, but there's the club sandwich generation where you have your children and your grandchildren plus your parents, or your parents and great-grandparents. Your parents, your grandparents, and maybe even your great-grandparents.
And we just need help, you know?
Yeah, it's very overwhelming.
Yeah, and two, I guess, government oftentimes cannot step up to the plate and provide all of that help through government services, and so people do need to reach into their pockets and find ways to pay for all these services as well. So given this kind of situation, I guess the first thing is, let's say, mom is being discharged from the hospital in 48 hours or, maybe in a couple of days, and the family's not able to provide all that assistance, and they said, well, we need to go find some kind of a paid helper. What do they do as a first step?
Okay, well, I think what's really important is for people to look at what is it that they need. I always start out with defining the problem. So we have to look at things such as what level of care does mom need? Does she need someone just to come and be with her because she needs general supervision? Does she need a higher level of care like assistance with bathing and grooming, dressing, those types of things? How often do you need someone? Do you need someone to come in because you're at work? So you need them to be there while you're gone. Or Patty and I were talking about the fact that we have a number of people whose family live on the mainland. And so they may need someone even more frequently than just 8 hours a day. So it may be a live-in situation.
Okay. So it depends. There's a lot of self-assessment that is necessary. In fact, there may be more questions that families need to ask, but they didn't even think about asking too.
Right.
So they need assistance in walking through this process. I guess that's the kind of thing that your company and your agency provides in helping people walk through and ask the right questions.
Right.
So let's say, for example, that you say, okay, I think we need to hire a private caregiver. What do we do? Where do I get information? What are some of the decision points, or what are some of the questions that they need to address?
Right. Well, you have to look if you want to go to an agency and start with them and they do the bulk of the work. Or you're going to do it yourself where, let's say you can look in the newspaper, you can put an ad on Craigslist, talk with other people that have caregivers. So that's kind of, people have to decide which way they want to go first. But calling agencies, you can get a lot of information from them. And I would recommend doing that and just kind of finding out there are different levels of care, like you said. So where are we at? Where do we fall in that? How much is it going to cost us? And then decide from there which way you want to go. And oftentimes it's less expensive if you do it on your own, but it requires a lot more work to do that.
Yeah, I think in looking at the needs, as I said, it's important to know who's going to be there if that caregiver isn't. If someone calls in sick, are you able to cover that care? Or is it the fact that you're going to have a number of caregivers? And are you going to be the employer, or do you want someone else to help with that responsibility?
I see. And I suppose using an agency sometimes has some advantages in that they can come in with an additional helper that is part of the employee pool, yeah? Okay, so there are pluses and minuses, like you say.
Right.
But I assume what are some of the minuses of working with agencies, if one could think of them?
I think maybe it tends to be a little more expensive because you're paying, them to assist you and to do most of the legwork. They already have caregivers ready to go. Qualified caregivers, they can assess where your mom or dad is at their level of care, and then place an appropriate caregiver with them. So, but yeah, it is going to be more expensive, and in general, in-home help is expensive. Yeah.
Okay. So, let's say the family has said, okay, I think that we'd like to hire a private caregiver. Okay. And let's say the family will take responsibility. What sorts of things should we be asking of that person? Assuming that we can find that person on Craigslist or a newspaper, or maybe we come up with maybe 3 or 4 or 5 different names. How do we determine which person to select? What questions should we ask? How do we know who is good?
Okay, well, I think the most important thing is that as the employer, and this could even be true if you're working with an agency, you may want to also do some of these steps. You want to be sure of what the person's qualifications are. Are they a nurse aide? Are they a nurse? Are they a family caregiver that now wants to help other people? They may all be wonderful workers, but you need to know to make sure that you're getting the level of care that you need. Or it could be that you just need a housekeeper and someone to come in and be with mom, but mostly doing housekeeping duties. So you wouldn't want an RN for that.
Yeah, you'd be overpaying, right?
Way too much. I think in addition, you really want to do reference checks.
Good.
You want to make sure that people will give references and they don't call them. They just say, oh, she gave me 3 names, so I figure it's okay, and they never actually call the reference people. So it's important for them to do that. You also may want to find out what their history is. Maybe even there may be cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, or even an understanding of how you want the care provided in your home, and so to interview the person around those issues.
Would it be a good idea to have like an application form, or would that be too formal?
Yeah, no, I would ask them to send a resume. And then that way you can look at the information there. You can do your reference checks, your background checks, and there is a way to access doing a criminal background check on the internet. So I would do all of those things, and I don't think it's too much. You know, it's better to have more information than not enough.
And actually, if you're not formal and structured, you can run into more problems.
Yeah.
So it is a professional thing. You're hiring someone to come into your home and provide services to you.
Okay.
And so just like with any service provider, whether it be a plumber or anyone, you want to have a professional relationship.
Okay, okay. Now, as far as the questions, let's say now I've invited this person to my home, and they're all sort of scheduled at different times during the day, and I'm going to be interviewing them. What questions should I be asking?
Okay. Well, again, history. So what type of people have you taken care of? You may want to find out about like what type of cooking do they do. Say, for instance, your loved one is diabetic. Do they understand the special needs of a diabetic? You may want to say, we always start out our first interview question is, why do you want to work with seniors?
Yeah.
What got you into working in gerontology?
Okay.
Yeah, ask them what type of skills they have. Do they know CPR? Have they taken care of somebody in a similar condition? I would give them scenarios like, okay, if this happens with my mom, how would you handle the situation? And see if you agree or, if you like what they say. If my mom doesn't want to eat or doesn't want to take a bath, how would you handle that? And so you have a sense of how they would work, how they handle. If you get frustrated, how do you deal with that frustration while you're on the job? And just ask questions, and ask, who else have they taken care of, Yeah, that's really important, the experience that they do
I guess too, if they do have some certificates, they could also show that with.
Yes.
Yeah, you'd ask them to bring that.
You could sort of take a look at that too. Gives you some indication as to commitment and credentials and credibility, I guess.
And also, I kind of advocate to do a drug screening. There are a lot of those little home kits that you can do.
Really?
Yeah, it can't hurt. And
you mean you can go to the drugstore and pick up a drug?
Yeah, and there's ones you can just order over the internet and administer them yourself.
What kind of drugs does it test for?
They pretty much check for everything: marijuana, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, opiates. Yeah, and there's alcohol strips.
How is it done?
By saliva testing.
Test.
Yeah. So.
Oh. And so you can tell right then and there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get a saliva sample and then maybe do it after they leave.
And then you
do the testing. Yeah.
Oh, do the testing separately. I see. Okay.
So.
Is there any place where you can, or I don't know if you have, let's say, a list of questions that you normally use for interviews, or is there anything like that is handy and available for our family members out in the community?
Well, I think I always go to the internet for a lot of things, but be careful where you're looking.
Sure.
Don't just, I'll take care of your mom.org isn't going to. But I think going to some of the caregiver red websites can give you lists of questions. What we do in our program is we actually help people and we give them lists of questions, we give them samples of things.
Okay. Well, at the very end, we'll come back to some phone numbers so, we can also have people call you directly in case they do have further questions.
In addition, though, too, with the drug test, I mean, we're kind of going into about if now you've decided that this is the person you want to hire, looking at a criminal background check, which is, someone can go down and get that for themselves, so the worker could get that for you. If they're going to be driving, then make
Traffic
sure you have a
abstract.
traffic abstract, their license, the insurance on the car if it's going to be their car. There's a number of things that you could also ask. More and more caregivers are looking for, are they independent contractors, meaning that they'll take care of their own employment issues? Are they bonded? Those types of things. Caregivers are asking for more and more.
Okay, these are good questions and good points. There's so much to know, right? Yes. Now, you've made a decision. You've selected, person A as a best candidate. You want to hire this person fairly soon, as soon as possible, let's say. And you've decided on the rates and the time. And should you work on a contract of some sort?
Definitely, definitely. As I said, it's best to keep this professional and formal. If it's in writing, then there's no misunderstanding. And it doesn't have to be a very complicated contract, even if it just covers basically the duties, the rate of pay, what days and times, and you both sign it, then you have something that you can always fall back on.
Refer back to.
Yeah. And I think maybe adding something about if you're sick or you want to take time off or something and how that's going to be handled and covered.
And if you can't come,
Yeah, what's the backup to
What's
that?
the back-
Yeah.
Make
Call
certain-
by a certain time
Call.
and yeah.
yes, because those are all
Yeah, then
critical
the
issues
family-
when we're
yeah.
dealing with mom and dad,
And
right?
the family will have to figure out,
Yes.
do you have a backup? The family has to create a
Right,
backup
right,
plan for those
right.
situations.
Right. And I guess in terms of putting something together in writing to many of our viewers might feel a little bit maybe overwhelmed with that kind of task. So I guess maybe calling either of you might be at least a start,
Right.
perhaps. Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. Pay. We've got to pay these caregivers. These individuals are certainly probably people with a lot of heart and are doing it because this is what they have a passion for. But certainly they've got to buy bread.
Right.
They've got to buy butter. All right. So how do we pay people?
Well, I know not only just here but everywhere people do the under the table thing, but I never recommend that. You need to protect yourselves. The caregiver needs to be protected too. So it's really important that there is some type of workers' comp and TDI. There's a whole list of things you have to do. You have to file first for a GE, because you're becoming an employer, the employer tax and all of this. So there is a whole bunch of stuff, and we do have information on that if you're going to do it on your own, steps that you have to go through and what applications and forms that you have to fill out. You could use a payroll service and just give them all the information and they can handle everything. So which makes it a little bit easier, but there is a fee involved with that. Usually they charge a percentage or something, a small percentage. So definitely I would recommend going through the legal process of covering.
So
everything.
tell me, Patty, what's the problem with doing it under the table?
Well, let's say the caregiver gets hurt trying to help the person.
Yes.
And she or he is not covered. They don't have health insurance because it's if they're doing it that way. So, and they don't have workers' comp or TDI. So if they take time off to heal, they're not getting any income. And what if they're really upset and then they want to sue them? So, and the family is, then the family is protected because there is a workers' comp and the TDI involved. And you won't have somebody, somebody who's going to come after you because they got hurt. So it's really a lot safer and, pragmatic to do it the legal way.
Okay.
Not to mention that there's income tax rules and regulations that if you were caught doing under the table, you actually could be in trouble for that.
Okay. So if the family hires, then the family should deduct some or pay for the income tax as employers, then?
Yes.
Well, and
Or
it
you can
depends.
do the independent contractor route.
Right.
Yeah. where the caregiver is responsible for all of that. But then you should probably be paying them a higher rate of pay because they are responsible for that added expense.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing. When you look at paying for a caregiver, take a look at what kinds of things you are paying for. So obviously you're not going to pay the same for a housekeeper as for a nurse aide. On the other hand, maybe if you're taking care of mom and dad, you don't necessarily have to pay twice as much. And many caregivers outside of agencies working with your program, I think, as well, can negotiate around that.
Right.
Are there things that you can offer the person? Like maybe I can't offer to pay you a lot of money, but I need somebody on the midnight shift to kind of be there with mom, but you could sleep or doze in the chair. So I'm not going to pay you as much because you're sleeping most of the time, but you're there in case mom needs you.
Right.
So really looking at the duties, looking at the level of care, and are there other little things you can do maybe?
Can you give us some benchmark with regards, of course, this is always difficult to do, company to company and situation to situation, level of care and that sort of thing. But for the general public, and if we were to provide them with some kind of informed guesstimates, what would you say as far as different levels of payment for our paid caregivers? Would you like to venture?
I think there's a wide range.
Okay.
Because, some people may start at $10 an hour.
And this is at the entry level.
Yeah, like
or
companion level.
Companion aid type.
But even, like in care homes, I think they start at that lower level. The home health agencies maybe start at $10 to $12. So it's kind of, you have to look at what you can afford. But also, if you're doing at least an average rate of pay, you're going to be able to kind of keep a caregiver. If that's a rate of pay that maybe that's better than most places, then they're going to stay with that job because it's it's a lot more economically feasible for them.
Right.
I would say at least $12 an hour.
Okay.
But
at the entry level?
Yeah, but it's negotiable.
Okay.
What is the caregiver willing to accept? What's the highest you can go? Where do you want to start and what's the highest you can go up to?
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
And then the whole differentiation between, are they an independent contractor, so you're going to pay them more because they're taking care of their own insurance, or are you taking care of that, or are you paying an agency that's going to take care of that? So agencies, one of the reasons the cost is higher with agencies is because they are taking that burden and paying the taxes and taking care of all that for you.
Okay. And what are some of the ways that we can use, we can use our, it can be out of pocket, cash or check, of course, but are there insurances that we can use and that sort of thing?
Well, the only thing that really covers is long-term care insurance, is
Okay.
what will help cover in-home care. I think there are certain other volunteer programs and like social services that maybe can aid, but not a whole lot. Yeah.
No, but for long-term care insurance, I think as we had talked earlier, the person needs to be a certified nurse aide.
Usually, yeah, you have to look at how it's written, how the
Okay.
policy is written. But
Okay.
usually, and sometimes they'll put it under that. Sometimes they might put it under domestic help. It all depends on how the
Okay,
policy
so
is
look at your
written.
policy is a
Yeah.
good
Right.
suggestion.
Yeah, and talk with the claims agent.
Okay, okay. Because certainly you wouldn't want to hire anybody for help unless you really needed it. And so
Right.
it's not as though you're trying to, defraud and create any kind of problems with
And
insurance companies.
if the person does have Medicaid, if they're
Yes.
eligible for Medicaid, there may be some services, but it's very minimal. We're talking a few hours a week, not on a regular basis.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's say I have hired somebody, I've decided to pay this person. Now, how do I know if my caregiver is really doing a good job or not?
Well, I think it's really important for you to check on your caregiver.
How do I do
So
that?
You can do it in a number of ways. You can ask the person that they're caring for, how are things going?
Okay.
You want to maybe ask them to keep a diary and write down things, what it is that they've done for the person for the day. You should also really be aware, I'm not ready to go to the nanny cams yet. I know some people are choosing that, some electronic monitoring devices.
Cameras in the house, is that?
Yeah. But I think you need to really look at the person who's receiving the care. If you notice mood changes with them, if they're not eating and losing weight,
Yes.
If they seem more agitated,
Yes.
if they just complain about the person, it really
Yes.
should be investigated.
Yeah. If it's customer care and there's
Right.
no satisfaction,
Right.
certainly we should look
Or-
at making some changes. Yeah.
Drop in, do a
Yes,
visit,
yes.
unannounced visit.
Unannounced visits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that
Okay.
from
These
time
are
to
all
time.
good suggestions. Now I think we're just about out of time right now, so maybe I thought I'd ask each of you. We've had so much information here. If we had one takeaway for our viewers, what would that be? Valerie.
Well, for me, it goes back to define what it is that you need. Really take a look at what are the services that you need, how often do you need them, what level do you need them, and what are all the circumstances around the
Okay,
caregiving.
that's number one. Patty?
Do your research now. Don't wait.
Don't we plan? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if mom or dad doesn't need help right now, it can't hurt to call around. Keep a little folder with who you talk to, what kind of information, what the cost is. Don't wait until mom's being discharged from the hospital tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
that's
need
panic
help.
time. That's terrible.
Yeah, and then you don't you can't
Yeah.
it's what do you call that when when you only have one thing to take,
Right.
you don't have you don't have a choice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now our viewers might want to call you. So Valerie, what's your phone number?
Okay, at the gerontology program, it's 543-8468.
One more time.
543-8468.
And Patty?
Options for Elders is 941-9401, or you can visit our website too at www.optionsforelders.com.
The phone number again?
941-9401.
Okay, that's about all the time that we have right now, and we had a great discussion on how to select a paid caregiver, important issues for our community, and we are very grateful for all of you out there watching this particular show, and look forward to you again next week. Aloha.